All right, we are streaming. I hope. Welcome everybody for not for this, where we are talking about the delay in Cyberpunk 2077. Something that, regrettably, is always possible. Every game. I said this yesterday. Every game is always possible to have a delay, and that sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it's not. So let me just get this, still setting this up, and I do believe the Mad Queen will be joining us. She's going to be doing a parallel stream on her channel, so hopefully we will be able to get some pretty good conversation on this. I am just loading up.
Hello, Saib.
Hey, how are you doing?
Fine, we are live here on stream.
Yes, we are live here on stream as well. So, so we're just settling in here. This was like only announced like an hour ago, so this is still kind of new to us, and we're kind of following this along as we go. There's one thing that I want to get off my chest right away, and there's a couple people saying, "Oh, so and so predicted this long time ago." Well, so and so predicts that pretty much every major game is going to be delayed, and eventually, if you swing at every single, pitch that somebody throws at you, eventually you might hit something, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have a high degree of accuracy. So,
Well, a game being delayed is like it happens, 80% of time? Eduardo
yep.
Barros, I would like to answer a question in the comments. Feels bad for people who pre-ordered it. No, I pre-ordered it and I don't feel bad at all.
Mm-hmm.
I already paid for a game that is good. So if it needs to be delayed, so the good game that I paid for is what it's delivered to me, then be it.
Mm-hmm. I have a confession to make.
You didn't pre-order.
I have not pre-ordered it yet, and
Well,
and the main
maybe
reason
if
is,
you are looking to playing it in digital version, you know that on GOG
mm-hmm.
you're not going to they're not going
Yeah,
to sold out the digital versions. But I pre-ordered the correct collector's edition, and I either did it or I can forget about having a collector's edition.
yeah, and that's really where that if I could have, I would have ordered the collector's edition, and I tried to. I was on my phone because I was out when it came up, and I tried desperately to make a pre-order for about 2 copies, and by the time I loaded up the website, it was sold out.
I'd like to tell you that here in the comments, the Neon Arcade is calling you heretic for not pre-ordering.
Mm-hmm. Well, in this particular case, I have nothing against pre-ordering. I would probably pre-order this right now if there wasn't really any need to. When it comes to digital items, they never run out, and as much as I love CDPR, I have a rule, and that's that I never place a pre-order unless it's about a month away from release. Um, and that's simply just good math.
Well, now that you are here, because most probably you are better informed this than I am. When is the release date of the new NVIDIA graphic cards?
Um, the new cards are going to be out this spring. So I don't have a date on the top of my head, but that is something that I was planning on picking up.
Because
And
that's
so,
something that's July.
mm-hmm,
Then arcade says July.
mm-hmm.
Well,
Now,
the thing is that a lot of people were complaining that the release date of Cyberpunk 2077 came before the release of the new NVIDIA graphic cards when they were working on ray tracing for the game. And excuse me
mm-hmm.
a moment, I'd like to answer another comment by Shenagos. Thank you very much for your support. Back her day, you're as gorgeous as always. Thank you. I'm so glad you used the super chat just to call me gorgeous. I pre-ordered too. People need to chill out. 5 months is nothing. This is CD Projekt Red, not Bitch Thesda.
Mm-hmm.
Bitch Thesda, I'm going to get this one. So
Um,
back to the graphic cards. What's your thought on this?
Well, and this is why I stressed, don't buy a rig, as soon as the announcement was made. You always want to wait until you're kind of close. Um, if you're buying a rig, obviously Cyber Monday is a good time. Obviously, Boxing Day if you have that, Black Friday, um, if you can get good deals on that. But if you're buying a rig for this game, you might want to have waited until around February, because February you're gonna get about as good a deals as you can, um, any other time in any other sale. And that's, you sometimes you have to push for it, sometimes you have to convince the sales guy to cut a deal. But February is one month where people need to move products, and if you're a salesman, especially if you're on commission, it's one of your worst months of the year. I know a lot of people who just take the whole month off, because it's just you might as well use up your vacation time and set aside some money to go on vacation then than to go about any other time of the year. So February is always a good time to buy hardware, because by then you'll kind of have an idea of what is being released soon, and what you're getting with your current money is probably going to be the best deal that you can get, with as much foreknowledge on what's coming out, in the next couple of months. And in this case, you would have gotten to this point and realized, oh, game's going to be delayed. So now you have a choice that you can not go through with the upgrade, wait until after the newest tech comes out, buy it in the summer, and then you're good to go for the game dropping in the fall. So in that case, pretty good advice, and that's kind of what I really try to encourage that as much as possible. Yes, holiday, Boxing Days, that kind of stuff. That's good times to get good deals. But if you know what to look for, you're gonna get as good a deals as you can in February, because it's such a bad month. And
I'd like to interrupt you here to answer
yeah.
two questions that I have before I lost them. Thousand Direct Club says, "How can you be so calm at times like this?" Uh, Obviously and absolutely. I mean, with all honesty, some years ago, I was complaining on YouTube. I did a very long video with interviews to developers to point out the problems of crunch at the project Red. And if
Mm-hmm.
they come out with a delay, that means that developers are going to have more time to finish the game. They are going to be less stressed. Obviously, I'm happy. I am not. I mean, I can't be mad at this. It To start with, it would be highly hypocritical of me to complain about a delay when at the same time I complain about the excessive crunch and how this affects the life of developers. So you can't have both opinions at the same time. For me, the priorities are first the good health of developers, and I mean that they don't get too stressed, and second that the game is good. And a delay, well, if they need to delay to deliver a good game, then then be it, because no one remembers a bad game shipped on time. And
Mm-hmm.
the second question, do you believe, McQueen, that maybe just like GTA, they will implement third person view as GTA implemented first person view down the line? Well, the truth is that the final word they gave on this is that they were not going to implement third person. If they're going to change their mind along the way, we don't know, but don't count on it, because their final question was that they weren't going to. The
Mm-hmm.
engine, the new Red engine, um, has not been updated. It has been revamped from the start, from scratch, and it has been prepared for first person. Now, all the changes that they will need to do to be able to implement third person in the game would be too many. But you're going to have mods for third person in case that you play the game on PC. So if you really need third person, most probably you're going to have it. Not by CD Projekt Red, but you're going to have it.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks for your support.
Um, I just want to throw. Oh dear.
Oh, and squish that fancy like button, as Ocean Bunny is saying
Oh
on the
yeah,
comments, please.
yeah. Mad Queen, can you quickly just double check your mic input for Discord, because it might be wrong again. You're coming
Oh, I'm
through a
so
little
sorry. Give
echoey.
me a second.
Yeah,
Um, 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 no,
because you
it's
do
here.
you do sound a little bit like you're talking into a tin can.
Oh, then goes directly into the wrong microphone.
Yeah, it almost always does that for some odd reason.
So how about now?
Yeah, that's so much better. Okay,
I am
yes, everybody.
terribly sorry, terribly sorry. Every time I plug the
Mm-hmm.
webcam, no matter if I put this microphone as the default,
Mm-hmm.
always
Yeah,
happens the same.
as soon as you remove it, it goes, oh my goodness, this doesn't exist anymore. So, all right, Mad Queen is with us now with really good audio. So,
Well,
yeah.
I deeply apologize to the people on your stream. I am so
Yeah.
sorry. And as Ali is saying in the comments, guys, please don't dislike Mad Queen's stream. It hurts her revenue, and it's other Project Red's decision, not hers. Well,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, yes, it's not my decision to delay the game. I don't have such power over the studio, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, if any of us could control things, that would be that would obviously be extremely helpful. But yeah, we don't have that kind of pull. No journalist has that kind of pull. So
The new Kate is saying it's her decision. She's lying. Get her. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
obviously. Well, I remember when I was the only one doing cyberpunk content on YouTube, I had constant comments of people that like took for granted that I have Adam Badowski's phone number and I could give him orders like, "Hello, I have a shitty channel of 3,000 followers. How am I going to be able to do that?"
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like now CDPR is a lot nicer to smaller creators than certain other people. Um, in fact, here's a rumor that I can confirm today because it's been confirmed by somebody else who is who is more directly tied to the company. Um, I could probably mention his name. Bellular, if you're in the know as to who that is.
No.
He is so he talks a lot about Activision and especially like Blizzard content. Um, he has confirmed today that routinely Activision will try to pay out their opening position for almost every like I, I mean, I've been saying this for a long time. For like almost every position, is about 10% of that which is industry standard. So if it's industry standard for somebody to hire an influencer for like 100,000 bucks, they will approach that same influencer with $10,000.
Subsidian, please check last known mail message in Discord, says Neon Kate.
Mm.
Sapton, thank you very much for your support. Do you think we'll have the Project Red show up at E3 2020 now? Well, if not with Cyberpunk 2077, the truth is, I am so sorry for my cat snoring in the background. That's the thing of making the stream so close to the heater where she likes to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
If not with Cyberpunk 2077, I was expecting them to be in at E3 2020 with this mysterious game that they are supposed to be releasing next year. We know nothing about.
Mm-hmm.
Will this cause problems for physical pre-orders? It doesn't have to. The delay has nothing to do with physical pre-orders. The quote-unquote problem will be that you won't receive it on the original date, but on the new date that is September 17th, 2020. What am I supposed to play now? Doom Eternal. You're supposed to play Doom Eternal.
All right, so two quick things. First thing on the date and why it was moved to be so far away, especially considering the news that we're getting on the question as to what was the cause of it. So I can talk about both of these things. The cause of it from preliminary speaking with people is that there was an issue in the code and an issue with some other things that would have affected the quality of the game a fair bit, and that they ran into this right before they went on Christmas break and decided that they weren't going to call everybody in, cancel vacation, and have everybody to crunch to try and fix it because they didn't know if that would make a difference or not before the release date. So the
Please allow me to
rumor.
interrupt you just for a second. Bill, thank you very much for your support. McQueen Army for the win. You can entertain it. Please go on, side. Sorry for interrupting you.
No problem. So the rumor right now is that they basically looked at that. They were mum about it. They went home. They had their vacation. They came back, and then they assessed it with a fresh set of eyes. So everybody was rested up. They looked at the issue and said, "What will it take, and how soon can we get this out the door?" So from what my sources are saying or suggesting, and again, I haven't been able to confirm this, is that it appears as if it would take about an extra month or two.
Well,
The
yes,
reason why
I would like to make this super clear because, Extreme, thank you very much for your support. I really appreciate it. I would like to make this super clear that they moved the release date to September doesn't mean that all the time they need for development. Release windows and marketing are very specific.
Yes, and what we have here and what we have showing through as far as my sources goes is that basically it was an issue that they needed more time for, that they couldn't release in that condition and have it to be a good thing. It would have meant a month or more of updates and fixes and problems, and would not have made for a good video game experience. However, you cannot release a AAA game like this in the middle of summer. You can't release it in June, you can't release it in July, and you can't release it... I mean, sometimes you can get away with releasing it in August. But because...
But August is a really bad day for releasing a really bad month for releasing a game. I mean, the closest to April is September.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how you look at it.
Yeah, so their closest and their most available date was to move it to middle of September. Everybody's home from vacation. Everybody's dealt with the busyness of the summer months.
Yes, answering 1,000 there is club. Why not in June? Because June is a very bad month marketing wise.
It's also too close.
Sorry?
It's also too close.
It's also too close, but even if they had the game finished for that date, June is a very bad month for releasing a game because it's the start of holidays.
Yeah. So if they were to do a June release, it would have had to have been like first week or two. And that just would not have worked.
I would not answer a question here. Is there any Cyberpunk apps? If you mean official apps, official game on mobile, maybe we are expecting something from Spoko, that is a mobile game developing company that CDPR Red acquired last year, the year before. My memory is super bad for time. They acquired a mobile developing company that offered them an idea for a mobile game based on one of CDPR Red's IPs. That their public IPs are either The Witcher or Cyberpunk. We are expecting it to be Cyberpunk. We have no news on it. We don't know. We don't even know if it's going to be Cyberpunk. CDPR Red's first delay, yes? Well, no, if we count The Witcher. Yeah, they're gonna have a lot of competition in September. There is another thing that I would like to say, well, apart for this. Please click that like button. There's not enough likes for so many people. Show the algorithm. Who's the boss here? What was I going to say?
And that goes for the same on both of our channels. We're both currently streaming on both of our channels. So if you check out Mad Queen's channel, she's streaming there, and if you check out Triple S League, we're streaming here. It's the same. You're getting the same audio, but I mean, if you can, obviously a big thank you to everybody who goes to both and likes both, because that really does help. All right, two quick.
Before you go,
quick question.
Danny, thank you very much for your support. Community support in time of crisis, return of investment. Hashtag we can wait. Thanks, McQueen. No, thanks to you. Please go on, Cybe.
So another question that's been brought up here by Last Known Meal. He is asking, what does this mean for E3 and Gamescom going forward? This means a lot, because we're going to get a new update at both of those places. We're going to get some. Their marketing campaign has been stretched out, so we're going to get additional campaigning stuff, and we're going to get additional drips of content. Obviously, drips, and then big reveals and big content as well. And I suspect that we're.
Sorry, I thought you were finished. Please go on.
And I suspect that we're going to get a fair bit more at those places because they now have the availability. They may not, as I covered on the Wednesday show, they probably will not be at everything. Mainly because you have to book time. There's limited spacing available for some of the stuff. So rooms sell out very, very quickly. I don't think E3 or Gamescom will be too much of a difficulty, but there are reasons why they don't show up at every convention. A lot of people were asking why aren't they at some of the PAXs. They just don't have the connections via the PAX. Every convention, and I mentioned this yesterday, every convention has a whole bunch of politics, a bunch of cliques, and a bunch of when I say politics, I don't mean like global politics. I mean like high school cliques and groups that you have to kind of get in with. And for example, when you go to E3, which is probably the worst, you'll immediately be met by a group of people who resemble, as best as I can say, a bunch of people who organize E3 who you would swear you just walked onto a scene of Game of Thrones from first 3 seasons. Where it's like, oh, are you with House Kotaku? Or are you with House Polygon? Or are you with the dreaded and vile House YouTube individuals? And you have to be the right person to be here. Don't you understand? It's oppressive. And I mean, you've been there, Mad Queen. I was there years ago. But it's oppressive how much the inner cliques work at these places. So again, not every convention is something that they have the ability to show up to or is worth the trouble, because E3, big pain in the butt for everybody who goes. Everybody who has been there for the last couple of years, presenting, dropping information, being on the show floor, the vast majority of them hate it because it is you always get sick. It's always frustrating. It's always a mess. You're constantly having to watch out for some dragon trying to turn you into a pile of ash, sometimes literal, sometimes figurative. And it's just not fun. It's just not a fun environment. You work like a dog, you get very little sleep, and it's just frustrating.
I'm remembering the face of Martin Iwinski at the end of E3 2018,
Mm-hmm.
the first time they were introducing Cyberpunk 2077. Poor guy needed a nap. Well, both him and Adam Badowski, but Iwinski was especially stressed. And sometime after, when he introduced the game, he talked about the game in an interview with PlayStation. He talked about it. He said that he just couldn't deal with the stress because the attention of media on Cyberpunk 2077 was way beyond what he expected, and he just couldn't deal with the pressure. Lázaro Martinez, thanks for the sticker. I think it's the first one that I received ever. Thank you very much. It's super lovely. I would like to also answer, I lost who said that, but yes, the comments on the release date, if I believe they're going to be negative. Well, it all depends on how conceited people is. I mean, for me and for most gamers that support Cyberpunk Red, we believe that the health of developers is way more important than the release date, and that the quality of the game is way more important than the release date. Sorry, and that no one remembers a bad game shipped on time. So if it's delayed, then be it. We can wait. Some people are more selfish and they only care about playing the game. and they may get mad. This is true. I really hope that they are not a lot, because fortunately, the Cyberpunk 2077 community is one of the most loveliest communities ever in gaming. Is one of the less toxic and more lovely. And I honestly forecast that, in the exception of some clickbaiters, because passionate controversies go great for clickbait. In the exception of passionate clickbaiters, the rest are going to answer with a lot of patience. In fact, so far the comments that they received on Twitter, most of them revolve around, well, okay, I'm sad the game is delayed, but we support you and we trust you, and if you need to delay it to make the game better, then be it.
Yeah. Now, so speaking of this, so one of over on my Discord, 77, is a little upset at this. Again, I understand why some people are upset. They're like, well, why can't they? They came and they made this announcement at E3. They had Keanu Reeves announce the release date. Trust me, if they had known then what they knew now, they would have obviously shifted the thing. From everything that we're getting right now, this issue came up fairly suddenly, and was one of these issues that is akin to suddenly having your office flooded out, right? With an actual flood that destroys a lot of stuff. It's kind of akin to that kind of a delay, in that they just could not, in good conscience, go forward with this concept. It wasn't that, this time last year, they're like, okay, we're going to announce that we're releasing in April at E3, and then, at Christmas, we're going to push it back. That's not something that these people do. It just doesn't happen. And again, to the people who are, to the people that are saying, I told you so. It's like, Mad Queen said, 80% of games are delayed. And if you say that about every single game, you're saying, especially one of these comments, because I looked up one of these, what one of these people said. And one of these people is a
Please allow me to interrupt you, Cypress, because my followers are constantly sending me stickers, and it's the first stream that people is sending me stickers. I'm just discovering them, and they are super lovely and super supportive, and I'm super lovely. No, thank you very much. And can I also thank you very much for your support. Your positivity in the face of cancer is inspiring. Thank you very much for your support. Also, someone is asking Sype, how is possible that Sype knows that many things? Sype is one of the YouTubers that I know that is really, really better informed inside the game commenting. I was going to say, game journalism on YouTube. So you will do very well in listening to Subsidian every time that there are some news, because usually he is very well informed, he's very well connected, and he knows a lot of things. In the description, you're going to find a link to the Triple S link to their channel. Please go on. Sorry for interrupting you.
Well, I mean, I'll quickly mention that. So I've been in the game industry for a very long time, in one fashion or another, and I've always been doing freelance or contract work for a number of big companies. We've just, I mean, when we were still really small, we interviewed a couple of big name people, including the person who wrote the script and the story for the latest Star Wars game, Unleashed. It's not, you don't get that unless you I mean, you can get that if you ask and stuff like that. It's just a matter of I've been around for a really long time, and yeah, it's Ali, you're a little not quite Ali in the Mad Queen's chat there. That's funny though. So it's just a matter of, like, I've been around for a long time, and I'm very well connected. And again, it's like I don't say anything that's not that primarily cannot be backed up with logic first and foremost. I'm never going to be like, I very rarely come out and make big claims that are a little bit ridiculous. Everything you can kind of check with time and close examination of facts and stuff like that. You usually end up getting it. and that's because I don't want to treat people like they're idiots. That's probably one of the worst things you can do is treat people like they're stupid. It's like, well, I know this, and we know a lot of journalists who do that, who do get this higher than, or this like snubbish, like, I'm better than you kind of thing, and I never want to become like that. And if I ever sound like that, big apologies, because that's definitely not what I've been meaning. But just in general, it's the community deserves respect. So the community, and that kind of comes from both the developers in the industry, and else and the obviously the fans, right? Because you guys are what makes any industry and any company work. And like I was saying with Activision a little bit earlier, it's like Bellular came out and said something that I've been saying for years, and that's the people that work at Activision, they don't give a rat's butt about anybody, and especially at Blizzard, they will underpay everybody as much as possible. And there's this big thing that's hitting them with their esports for Overwatch right now. Big story developing there, huge story, and this is something that most insiders have known has been coming for a long while. It's not looking good at all. So anyways, a little bit of a digression, but
Well,
but yeah,
I would like to
background.
answer Jen's. I forgot to say that. Thank you. And I would like to answer James Handley that say, let's be real, most people are real pissed about this, including me. Please don't be. Please remember that the good health of developers is very important, and it should be for every single one of us who care about the games they develop and about the games they ship. And in here, the two most important things in this order are that developers don't die doing this game, and second, that they deliver a high quality game. We don't want them to do a Bethesda, so a delay, if they need the time, is great. And for the people that just came here because they are asking, I'm going to read again the official announcement of CD Projekt Red regarding the release date of Cyberpunk 2077. And it said, we have important news regarding Cyberpunk 2077 release date we'd like to share with you today. Cyberpunk 2077 won't make the April release window, and we're moving the launch date to September 17th, 2020. We are currently at a stage where the game is complete and playable, but there's still work to be done. Night City is massive, full of stories, content, and places to visit. But due to the sheer scale and complexity of it all, we need more time to finish play testing, fixing, and polishing. We want Cyberpunk 2077 to be our crowning achievement for this generation, and postponing launch will give us the precious months we need to make the game perfect. Expect more regular updates on progress as we get closer to the new release date. We're really looking forward to seeing you in Night City. Thanks for your ongoing support. Signed by Marcin Iwinski, co-founder and joint CEO of CD Projekt, and Adam Badowski, head of the CD Projekt Red studio. I wanted to read it again as some people were asking for it. And Bill, thank you very much for your support. Marek said, like Matt Quinn keeps saying, it's better to wait for a great game than to be sorry for a buggy mess. Yes, because if we have a buggy mess, then it will happen like usually happens with Bethesda, that the game is not playable until it has some patches on it. Pirate France, thank you very much for your support. Thoughts on Triple S League or small creators to be immortalized in Cyberpunk 2077? I think it'd be great to hear the league on the radio reporting on major events. Well, Saib, would you like to be a media? Oh, and by the way, click that like button. On both channels, on the Triple S League channel and on mine. You know that YouTube forces us to say that, you know that, right? So please click it.
There is some so Mike Pondsmith has created a role for YouTubers in Cyberpunk Red, which is the latest tabletop thing. I don't think that he's given any names or any like actual examples, but he did. One of the things that he changed about Cyberpunk in general and the media class is that they're all like smaller, essentially like YouTubers now. And I think that's pretty cool. And how they've done it is really really awesome because you can actually have this like kind of like subtle nod to people in the future. So by all means, let R. Talsorian, which is Mike Pondsmith's company that's making Cyberpunk Red, you know, let him and let CDPR know all your favorite creators, and you know CDPR is, you know, they like putting Easter eggs in things, and so you know that's cool. I may have been I may or may not have been referred to by somebody at one of these companies as quote the original Netrunner. So this is you know it's an honor to just have that in the background when we're chatting because what I do like what you know what I do is not always public.
Sorry, sorry.
I
Is
know.
that so much? Someone in the comments asking if I'm wearing bottoms. Because some know that sometimes I'm just wearing the shirt on the streams and I'm not wearing anything. I do that in summer. It's winter. I'm cold. Obviously, I'm wearing bottoms. Please go on. I need to answer that.
Well, to move on to what somebody else is asking in my chat here, is somebody's upset that there's a lot of games in September to play. Right now, the only thing that's been confirmed for releasing in September that's kind of in the realm of being from a big developer, the only thing right now is Marvel's Avengers. So, I mean, I just want to throw out the idea, the concept. First of all, it's coming out on the 4th. So you've got like, you know, 13 days. You got, you know, almost 2 weeks basically of like burning through that game. I doubt very much that Marvel's Avengers from Square Enix, you know, where all their faces are not like any, they're not from the comic books and they're not from the movies. So at this point, I'm like, okay. I mean, if you're a diehard Square Enix fan, this might have some general interest for you, but in all honesty, I'm not looking forward to this game. So if that's your biggest worry, I think you can officially become less worried. I don't think there's anything in September that's going to have a significant competition. And the next biggest one that's coming out after that's been confirmed. Now, obviously, we're going to get a whole lot more confirmations. We're going to get a lot of drops and info coming up at E3. So this by far this list is not complete. But the only other thing on the big list would be, Who's Your Daddy, which is a crowdfunded game coming out in December. So I mean,
what a name.
I mean, yeah, I mean at this point, I hate to say it, but as of right now, and again, this list is going to grow significantly. I think your September is wide open. Again, we're probably going to have a number of big new releases and big things that are going to be coming out, waving its head around once we hit E3. Obviously, we're going to get a bunch of announcements. There is a rumor right now that we are going to get a major announcement for
I'm going to interrupt you here. To make a cliffhanger. This way, I answer a comment with a cliffhanger that is going to be an announcement of 10. And this way, I will answer a question because maybe Cyberpunk Red wasn't busy doing cosplay conventions. Maybe we would be playing the game on time. James, the marketing department and the development department are not the same departments. Are not the same people.
It's not the same people.
Well, the marketing department is busy doing cosplay conventions. The development department is in Warsaw developing the game. Not the same departments, not the same people. Both things are not related at all. And second question, sorry.
You don't even have the same heads of the departments running this stuff. The closest head between these two departments is like Adam. So that's like the top.
Apart from me, he's the head of the studio, but as the director of the game, I don't even know if he cares what marketing does.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a thing of
Well, I mean,
marketing, and marketing is marketing.
He cares,
It's
right?
like when the ARG that we did, someone said, well, this proves that CD Projekt Red is not a tech-oriented company, because if they were, they would have known that the ARG could be solved like this. Like, people on the tech department doesn't give a shit about the ARG. This is a marketing thing. Different departments. I'm sorry, but I find it very funny when people make comments like this. Different departments, different people. There are more than 500 people working at Red on very different things. Some of them are developing the game, some of them are in marketing. And the second question, and I would like you to help me with this, and then we will go back to the cliffhanger side, because I'm not forgetting. Maybe it is possible that they will release the multiplayer with base game because they have more time. Do you know anything on it?
I doubt it. The nature of the delay revolves around the current build. It does not revolve around stuff that they're wanting to release.
But I understand that the Digital Escapes was called the studio that was working on the multiplayer, and I guess that
yeah, I mean, it's something that does make me stop and think, but based off of what I know of their process and how everything's lining up, that's simply not the case. So let's go through the logic of it really quickly. One, we know that it's a separate wing of the studio that's working on the multiplayer game, and that their set release date for that was basically always 2021, late 2021, because of the kind of wanting to wait for the bulk of the single player people to get through the single player game.
Sorry, but someone is asking if you're Keanu. Please go on. I just had to comment on that.
Asking what?
If you're Keanu. Is that Keanu she's speaking with?
I wish I was half that good looking, or even half that human. I'm yeah. So I mean, just in general, it's not something that functions in. They were waiting for. They're also waiting for one or two of the big expansions to come out before they drop the multiplayer. We know that for sure we're probably going to get one before the multiplayer. We might get two, and depending on depending on how it goes and kind of what they had planned, I think the maximum number of expansions we were expecting for this was 3, probably 2, but the multiplayer might count as the third. So there might be 3 single player expansions, because again CDPR calls them expansions because that's what they are. They're not the micro DLC content that you get through a lot of other companies. It's as of yet unconfirmed whether it's 3 total or 3 single players with the multiplayer as well. So this is kind of where they're sitting for now, and then we don't know how much expansions, DLCs, additional content we will get through the multiplayer. We just don't know that, and there is still a possibility that the multiplayer is a standalone product. This
is what I'm mainly wondering if is. Lateral, thank you very much. Another lovely sticker. I'm just loving them. Sorry, I'm super excited because it's the first time that I have, and the emojis are super funny. But yes, that's the first thing that I'm wondering, if the multiplayer part is going to be a standalone game or is going to be an attachment to Cyberpunk 2077, because obviously it changes a lot. Because Cyberpunk 2077 is already going to have a big map that is going to be in the game, and it's already done. Like, I don't know. But I like the point of view of Kaiser that says, at least CD Projekt Red isn't a company that will release a broken shit and then sell us the solution as a mega transaction. Well, that's important. But yes, the multiplayer, I don't care about the multiplayer that Janius said. Well, I'm not a multiplayer person myself, to be completely honest. I'm not especially hyped in the sense of, I don't know if I'm going to like it as a multiplayer, but this is the first time that they develop a multiplayer, and I'm under the impression that they're going to do as usual, where the story is going to be very important. The only thing we know about it is it's not going to be a battle royale. And I'm guessing that the multiplayer, even if it's thought to be an ongoing game, because that's what multiplayers are for, even if it's thought to be an ongoing game, I expect some story. I expect some elements that are typical of CD Red. I don't expect just a shoot 'em all or some bullshit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't they say that the multiplayer is a standalone thing? Kalenko, I believe they didn't. They didn't say we don't have information about the multiplayer.
It's not been confirmed. It's been rumored. In people that are in the know, it's been rumored considerably to be a standalone project. It was originally designed to be in the game. In fact, we put out a leak on it like almost 2 years ago. The original goal, the original idea that they had behind it is that they were going to have this like phase in, drop out multiplayer where you could join other people's games. It was seamless. You could just like queue up for like basically a type of a harder mission that's designed for multiple people to handle, and people would just like join your game and kind of just do it. A little bit almost like the way that the Division handles that kind of stuff. But however, at some point that was canned. That whole process was like they looked at it and they said, no, we're not going to do this.
This also ties up with something that they are saying in the comments. Said, honestly, I am really upset. They should have learned from the Witcher 3 release history and chosen the release date more carefully. There is something that you should keep in mind, is that CD Projekt Red developing Cyberpunk 2077 is not repeating a pre-existing formula. They are a lot of things that they are doing with in this game. They are new for them. Obviously, they are no newbies in development. They already released a piece of art, which is The Witcher 3, but they are doing a lot of things that are new compared to The Witcher 3. And when you are doing things that you have never done before, you can encounter problems that you didn't count on when you were scheduling the things to do in the game. Maybe you had an idea of how many time it would take to develop a thing, but as you don't have the experience over that thing, then maybe things can change. And I believe that it's important to note that they are perfectionists. Maybe they could have said, well, maybe it didn't work out as we intended, but okay, I mean, it's good enough. This doesn't happen with them. They rather to delay the game, even though they know that most probably they're going to have backlash for this decision. But you have to keep in mind that the decision of delaying the game is always with idea in mind to deliver the best quality possible. And this is very important. This is something very important to have in mind. It's not that important that it's delayed. Okay, we're going to play it a little later. But in exchange, we're going to have a better game without bugs and that has the best quality that they are capable of delivering. I believe this is way more important than the release date per se. And again, having to forecast the release of something that you are constantly experimenting is very difficult. So please don't think that it's not like they rushed the decision on the original release date. But sometimes you can encounter problems when you are experimenting with things and you are being innovative, because that's very important to note. They are being very innovative for Cyberpunk 2077. And what they are doing, not only they don't have the experience, there are a lot of things inside Cyberpunk 2077 that no one has the experience on. So it's normal that they encounter problems that they didn't count on.
Not to mention that there naturally has been a lot of like growth at the company, and a spectacular amount of growth at the company. They went from what was it, like 300 people for The Witcher 3 to now they're well over 1,000. They're almost sitting at 1,200 now. It's a lot of people. You've almost quadrupled your base. At some point, you need to, you don't know whether or not everything will click. I can hire, just generally speaking, you can start up a company, especially a gaming company. You can hire a ton of people.
Short interruption. I'm reading all the comments. Obviously, I don't have time to answer them all, and also I'm interrupting Cybe enough, and I just don't like doing it. But I'm reading all the comments. Please go on, Cybe.
Um, it's it's just a matter of like you can hire a ton of people, you can get in a bunch of people in for a company, but just based off of like team leads and a handful of other things, you can have the same two. You can do this in multiple dimensions. You can have um, the same people go at a project, but you change out one or two team leads, and that's enough to change the overall product and the overall time that it takes you to do the project by months, sometimes a year, right? And so this is the problem that they have when you're sitting down to like make a plan. If just one or two people are enough to, create a massive change. Imagine like doing, increasing your staff by, by four times what you had originally, and then trying to complete something. It's like that's a lot bigger in scale. It's like you think you know where it's going to put you, and this is the difficulty. When the announcement was originally made for April, this was done. This was almost a year ago that was planned up. So almost a year ago, where they sat down, they made the assessment. Do they need 18 months? Do they need 12 months? Where are they at? And that's basically what they had to work off of. Was this guessing game, and it's always a guessing game, and it's hard and it's difficult. They had started to plan when they originally were working on this way back when they put out the first teaser. They were expecting that this game would be done in 4 years, and we're looking at almost 8 or more. I shouldn't say or more. We're looking at it being almost double the amount of time that they originally assumed, because of things that happened with The Witcher 3, because of things that happened with them not really being able to, at that particular time, run two different developments at the same time and have that done smoothly. And there are other problems that came up. So they did have to tweak a lot of stuff, change a lot of stuff. Just having Keanu Reeves walk in the door, and the way that he approached his character, and the way that he realized what kind of a project this was, and how much true fun he had with it. We've talked about this before. He basically he was brought in to handle a certain amount, and reliable rumor has it that he, within the first 5 hours, of going through the character, of looking at everything, with the first day, he basically turned to Adam and a couple other people that were there and said, I'm going to like quadruple my time on this, and I'm not going to charge you that much more, because he was so happy with the project, that he was basically like, look, I want to do way more in this game, because this is groundbreaking. I love this. This is like a character that I love to play. I want to do more. He called up his agent, basically said, yeah, I'm going to be doing like way more work on this. And we're not going to charge him that much more. Of course, his agent probably had a heart attack when he said this, because, agents are like that. But that's what this guy is he doesn't need the money. I mean, he's one of the richest actors in Hollywood, and he's far less pretentious than any of those other Hollywood people. And so he basically said, I'm doing this because I love to do it. And when you are working and you're doing what you love to do, this is something that would naturally happen. And so he basically looked at this, and so that we can kind of take a look at that. And what ended up happening is they ended up rebuilding a lot of the game when it came around to Johnny Silverhand and what his character had to do in the game. And he went from somebody who was going to be doing a little bit of voice work to being the person with the most amount of voice work in the game. That includes the protagonists. So that's huge. That's a big change that happened fairly late into development. So all of these things can impact the game's development time and can add in monkey wrenches into your regular goals and what you're thinking it's going to happen and what you thought was going to happen, and then suddenly it all changes.
Oh, sorry
and
to
that's okay.
interrupt. Sorry to interrupt
Mhm.
you, Subsidian. I don't know if the audience is hearing that. I have an audio of Martin of Alan Kitsky, president of CD Projekt. I believe it's related. I am not. I did not hear it yet. Do you mind if we put it in here?
Yeah. Do you have the link to it? Because it won't come through
It's
on
on
my
my
screen.
Discord, and they also mentioned Hobek in the Cyberpunk 2077 channel of my Discord. Before that, Adrian, thank you very much for the support. And regarding the new generation of consoles, they delayed the game to finish it, not to work on the new port. You don't need to have any kind of inside info to know that they obviously are going to port Cyberpunk 2077 to the new generations. And also, they already said that they were going to focus on this generation first. So new generation is not going to be out until ending this year. So, and let's
Mm-hmm.
go into hear what Martin,
It.
excuse me,
Do you
Adam
have a Do you have
Kicinski
a
have to say.
Do you have a timestamp on that? Because it's a long audio. It's 30
It's a
minutes.
long audio, really? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's 32 minutes.
Well, surprise! I honestly don't know what we're going to have. So I don't know if you're going to hear it if I play
Uh,
it.
we won't hear it on our stream here unless are you going to play the whole thing, or do you want to take
I
a minute to kind of go through a little bit of it?
I'm going. I was thinking about hitting play and seeing what we have because I don't know. I don't know what we're going to find.
Well, it's 32 minutes, and from what I've just kind of reviewed on it, this is from I think one of their financial calls a while ago.
Yes.
So this is.
I'm going to mute you a second to go through it really really fast because I need to mute desktop audio to avoid
Yeah.
doing it putting it out. Give me a second.
Yeah. Okay. So she's going to go through that. We're going to see what this has. This is from their official website. I think this is from. Yeah, no, this looks like this is from today. Okay, so this is a call that's kind of come out here today. So I would be tempted to play it in its entirety, but it is 32 minutes. So,
Okay,
would
Saib,
you?
I'm back.
Yeah,
Saib, I'm back.
it looks
And
like this is. It looks like this is a drop that they put out today. So is
yes,
this maybe a direct thing from him?
yes, because I've heard the question about the delay on September. I didn't hear the answer because I interrupted it. And they are
Mm-hmm.
asking about if Adam Kicinski is worried about the delay on September for the competition, and they were asking about the multiplayer as well. Do you want us to play it here, or do you want us to make a video? Because
Um,
this is very
well, I
long.
mean, we could play it. Is it the whole thing, or is it just a portion of it?
I am not. I just skipped to the minute 6:45, and just it came out this question. If you want to go to 6:45, and
6:45.
then we put it in both videos, both streams. Play here, then
Okay.
make another video. Well, I didn't want to because it's half an hour long.
Yeah, no, it's a really long video.
So we're going to hear Adam Kitchen's question. Is the president of the project. We're going to hear answer. Sorry, Adam Kicinski's answer on the delay and on the multiplayer, which are the both subjects that you are asking about. And Saip, if you want to go to the 6:45 to put it at the same time
Just
in both channels.
give me a second. I've got to download it here. There we go. All right, so I've got it downloaded. 6:45.
Well, a little earlier maybe. Well, 6:45. I can't earlier. 6:45, and I'm telling you, question is regarding the competition when releasing the game on September and what happens with the multiplayer. And 6:45 is
I'm
the answer.
having. Yeah, I'm having some issues getting it locked down to 640. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay, let me put this. You want to do 640? I've got 640 lined up here.
Well, 640, and where our it's of our each of our subs are not going to listen to the other. So if we have a little 5 seconds difference, it's not going to matter.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got it at 645, 640. I'm going to start it in 3, 2, 1.
2077. Is it likely that we could get the multiplayer game in 2021, or should we be thinking beyond that?
Maybe. Hi, this is again Wygoski. Maybe I'll start with the first question. So, frankly speaking, there's always something happening no matter what period of the year you're looking at. Games industry is not the industry where you could say that any given month is I don't know, safer for whatever reason. So no, in that regard, we don't see September as being more threatening than April or May or June. Now, when it comes to, I think your second question was about the multiplayer. Am I right?
Correct.
I mean, in terms of multiplayer, to be honest, hello? Sorry. In terms of multiplayer, I mean, one thing we need to make clear is that the AAA release we're working on in parallel with CP 2077 is Cyberpunk multiplayer. So that's the first thing to say. And I think Adam was alluding to it. I mean, things are going to be moving. So given the expected release of the Cyberpunk 2077 in September, and frankly speaking, the series of events which we expect to occur after that date, 2021 appears unlikely as a release date for the Cyberpunk multiplayer.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, so it looks like the multiplayer is going to be delayed as well.
Next question received is from Chris Bishop from Mirror Securities. Your line is now. Please go ahead.
Hi guys, just one from me. Do you guys think is the right team in place? Do you need to see this through, or are you going to need to hire some more developers? Do you think?
Adam Kicinski. In terms of team, we are good. I mean, we have a team which is required to finish the game. We are in a really final phase, so no more. Of course, we have always some hiring.
Yeah.
We have future projects, but in terms of Cyberpunk 2077, in terms of team, we are really good.
Just one follow-up. Is this going to change your thinking about gearing towards next-gen consoles, or are you just carrying on with the plan you've got in place?
I mean, we are going the same plan. So, as we said, our games were always designed for strong machines. So, we are thinking about the next generation, but for now we are focused on the current generation, and the plan is still valid.
Okay, thanks.
The next question we received is from
these two people were Adam Badowski and Adam, president of CD Projekt. I'm going to put the link in the comments. People are asking for it. And no, what he said about the multiplayer was the opposite, that they are now centering on the single player and that the multiplayer comes next. And here is the link.
He also said,
is on CD Projekt's website. So, sorry.
But he also said that he doubted whether or not it'll be out until in 2021, that it may be delayed until 2022.
Well, they didn't give a release date for the multiplayer, so I don't know if it really matters, because we don't have a release date for. Is the delay due marketing reason? The delay is delayed because they need more time to finish the game, but it's on September for marketing reasons, because September is the next release window, marketing-wise, that they can choose, even if the game would be finished before.
They alluded to that while they were talking, so. Okay, so a couple of things there with that. I know I'm tempted to kind of go back and listen to the first couple of minutes, but it appears as if they've the delay has been unfortunate, and that September was their next best release date. I've talked about this a lot, how when you're releasing a game, you have a couple of release dates that you pencil in, and you find the best day in April to release, the best day in September to release, the best day in November to release, and so on and so on.
I just realized one thing. The original release date was close to Mike Pondsmith's birthday.
Yeah. I knew that's gonna be sad.
Oh, now that's the only thing that makes me sad about the change in the release date. I like that it was so close to Mike Pondsmith's birthday on 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Yo, everybody's acting like their feelings don't hurt. My heart feels like I just got cheated on. When you got cheated on, it's because someone doesn't care about you, and someone that refuses to release a bugged game, and instead of that is asking for more time to make it better and to give you a fair deal for your money. I don't think it feels like cheating. Quite the opposite. It feels like respecting you and respecting the value of your money.
To the person who's asking, the audio quality was rough. That is basically a conference call on landlines that somebody is recording through a third-party program. So that's why the audio quality is a little bit rough, and why you have some people who, they breathe into the microphone because that's just what they do on phones, I guess. I've never understood why somebody will sit there and breathe into the microphone really loudly while they're listening to somebody else talk. It's like, dude, you can move the phone 2 inches up your face while you're not talking. So I have Mikasa in our chat over here is asking, what's a landline? Well, a landline is when somebody uses this old device called a desktop phone, which is this thing that sometimes is corded and sometimes it's cordless, and you pick it up and you enter numbers in it. And unlike cell phones, if you go far away from the device that you keep the phone on and charge it on, the call will be dropped. I know, very shocking stuff.
Don't laugh. Maybe English is not the main language landline means.
I'm no, that it's a joke. There's a funny little joke. Somebody was one of these kids discovered this old phone. It was a cordless phone. And they kept saying that they didn't understand the point of it. It was big, bulky, and every time they went down, to the end of the street, the phone call would always cut out.
Well, in fact, I remember Pat Cadigan, Cyberpunk writer. For those of you who don't know Pat Cadigan, you should. Personally, she's a Cyberpunk writer, and personally, I believe she's way better than William Gibson. But don't tell anyone; people will call me a heretic. But yes, read Pat Cadigan, and she was explaining once the reason why no Cyberpunk writers forecast mobile phones, which is not true because Mike Pondsmith did forecast mobile phones. The Agent, that was a mobile phone using an artificial intelligence. But she explained that back in the 80s, they made these mobile landlines that when people used them to talk outside of their houses when they had a yard, they were worried that the calls could be recorded. And they were worried, and they really didn't like using landlines that were mobile. That's why some authors, most of them, all of them except Mike Pondsmith, believed that mobile phones would never going to be a thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I mean, it's that's not it's not exactly abnormal. If you have a baby monitor, you'll pick up a lot of stuff. Sometimes from even from some will pick up even from cell phones and stuff. So but like cordless phones, you pick up a lot of stuff with that too. So it's just a receiver that's just trying to pick up random stuff. Excuse me. They better add an option to Romance Stout for breaking our hearts. Well,
sorry for interrupt you here. Well, I'm obviously quite a defender of criticism. I'm going to start timing out crybabies on the comments on the chat, because yes, okay, you already said that you have a problem with the release date, but this constant crying is annoying. We heard about it. Nobody really cares that much, as you can read in the comment section. Nobody feels emotionally broken because the game is delayed. We all want the best game possible, and if it has to be delayed, be it. So I'm going to start hiding crybabies because I'm starting to get annoyed. I mean, you already stated your opinion. You don't need to repeat it and over and over and over. Please go on, Cyb.
So, and again, I understand why some people are really upset. I have to go down to the cryogenic lab and put the delay timer on like 20 people who've frozen themselves an extra 6 months, 5 months, and then I have to explain to them when they wake up why there was this sudden, why they're expecting it to be April and it's now September. And then I have to catch them up on all the stuff that happened at E3, and trust me, it's a big headache. It is a big headache.
Everyone is emotional. Being emotional is okay, but repeating the same sentence 15 times is what is not. I mean, if you state your opinion on that and then move on to a different opinion, okay. I mean, we can discuss everything you want. This has always been the rule of my channel. But getting mad, not because you feel the delay, but getting mad because you see the rest of the people that is participating on this chat doesn't really care about the delay. I mean, delayed. Cyb, do you mind if I read again the letter of the Project Red, because people is asking again?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to show you Cyberpunk 2077 has been delayed. CD Projekt Red announced this delay. I'm going to read the official announcement. We have important news regarding Cyberpunk 2077's release date we'd like to share with you today. Cyberpunk 2077 won't make the April release window, and we're moving the launch date to September 17th, 2020. We are currently at a stage where the game is complete and playable, but there's still work to be done. Night City is massive, full of stories, content, and places to visit. But due to the sheer scale and complexity of it all, we need more time to finish play testing, fixing, and polishing. We want Cyberpunk 2077 to be our crowning achievement for this generation, and postponing launch will give us the precious months we need to make the game perfect. Expect more regular updates on progress as we get closer to the new release date. We're really looking forward to seeing you in Night City. Thank you for your ongoing support. This letter has been signed by Marcin Iwinski, co-founder and joint CEO of CD Projekt, and Adam Badowski, head of the CD Projekt Red studio. And I sound like the secretary. Like when I say the CEO of CD Projekt, Adam Kicinski. This year, I didn't say that a lot. You there, Cyb?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm still there.
I'm pirating the game. If they don't respect people's pre-order, then I don't respect their shit. Respect people's pre-order. They do respect people's pre-order. That's why they are delaying the game, because they don't want to release a buggy game. I also pre-ordered Fallout 76. Do you want to know how I feel when I started playing it on release date? Because they didn't want to release the game, because they wanted to make it in the Christmas window. And they didn't delay it, and in exchange they delivered an incredibly buggy game. Do you believe I felt respected when I started playing Fallout 76? I tell you, I didn't. I would have very much rather that they weren't so greedy and that they delayed the game until it was really finished. So if CD Projekt Red needs more time to finish the game, be it. I want a good game. That's what I'm paying for, and I'm expecting them to respect the hard work that I put into earning the money that I will spend in their game.
Yeah, and as we, as we said before, my humble opinion, the only time you should be pre-ordering a game, period, is when you're ordering like a collector's physical edition. There's absolutely no point in pre-ordering even a regular copy, physical condition. They're going to run out. Highly unlikely. The collector's edition is the only thing that they run out on, and even with that, you're kind of rolling the dice. Actually, right now, I'm looking over to the corner of my room, and I see a wonderful collector's edition for a game that I pre-ordered when I really shouldn't have, and it came out, and now the whole collector's edition thing is basically just a paperweight, because it was not that good of a game when it came out. It just really didn't do that well. Might have... It's got no collector's value to it anymore. So, I really can't stress enough to, be very careful when it comes to this stuff. And that there's no point to that. And I mean, aside from the people who did get the collector's edition, if you're complaining that you pre-ordered, cancel the pre-order.
Yeah,
Again, they're not running out of stock, especially if you pre-ordered the digital version. There is literally nothing there. You have pre-ordered nothing. You have pre-ordered a code that doesn't even exist yet. Trust me. You can wait.
Thank you very much for your support. Keep it up. Thank you very much. And also, I would like to thank both of you, both listening at the Triple S link in their channel or in my channel, to click that like button, because we're receiving a lot of dislikes from people that seem to believe that Saib and I are responsible for the delay of the game. Because obviously, yes, we have this ability to... We don't have any kind of power on the game. And again, the same subject popped up again, that they should give a date when they are sure. Cyberpunk 2077 is a groundbreaking game. They are doing a lot of things that not CD Projekt Red, not any other studio has experience on. They are new. And as such, is it very difficult to make an accurate forecast. It's as simple as that. I don't believe that it's so hard to understand. What if they were just repeating a formula they already know? It would be easier to make a forecast. And to be completely honest, if you make me choose that if I want a groundbreaking game or a repeating formula, and the groundbreaking game has that they don't really know what are they going to be able to deliver it, and the repeating formula they can forecast perfectly fine because they are already experienced. What do you prefer? Well, I prefer a groundbreaking game, thank you very much, especially if it's Cyberpunk 2077, because as you know, I have a very important emotional connection with a pen and paper game, and it's a very important game for me. So yes, I rather that they experiment at the expense of not being able to forecast the future because they are experimenting. What is wrong with that? Quite the opposite. It's perfect.
Yeah. Now, and again, nobody's more upset over this than me in a logical format, because I don't know if you know, but I tried very hard to get our community podcast to start exactly 1 year before release, when there was no release date publicly. That is. So I tried very hard to pull what information I could, and to arrange things in a particular way that would allow for us to drop that kind of like mic drop at that particular moment. And it's messed up things a little bit, but you know what? I can live with that now, and and whatnot. Anyways, I have a super chat. Thank you for a super chat on my stream here on this end. I was starting to feel left out, but But Pirate
so
France
sorry.
has seen to it that I am not left out of the loop. They ask, what will CDPR do to stay relevant until the release date? Will there be another
We have
cosplay
a lot.
competition, more trailers, a demo? Do they even need to do anything? Yes, they will obviously be dropping more stuff, more content. They will have probably a new trailer, because from what we understand, the problem was not the problem is with the code and with something that happened. And I have a really good example that I'm going to use here in a minute. There was a problem with something that has resulted in them needing more time for coding. This means that their cinematic and the side of the company that they use to make the trailers, the really fancy trailers that we've seen, it means that they now have a couple months to do something that they weren't expecting to have. So this actually means that certain aspects of the game will even get more polish. For example, one of the things that we're going to get more of is probably, I'm saying probably, I'm also winking heavily right now, that we might see more clothing options, because the crew that's in charge of the clothing options didn't have as much time as they wanted to have to get as many outfits and styles and whatnot made for release. Well, now they suddenly have 5 more months. That's a lot of time to add new clothing, more options, a bunch of other stuff to the game. So that's a good thing in that regard. So we are going to get a more fleshed out version of the game. It's not that it's the same version that you would have gotten in April is the exact same version that you're getting in September, just without the bugs. That's not what's happening. You're going to get overall more content because they're going to be able to add things that they've wanted to add. They're going to be able to go back and tweak a handful of things, because that kind of stuff doesn't really affect the the core problem that's affected the core of the game. So great question there, and thank you again, Pirate France. Some of my favorite pirates are French, so you know that's good to know. So all right, yeah. Thoughts on that, Mad Queen?
Sorry, I was reading so many comments.
More content with the delay.
Well,
Like some more things fleshed out.
Obviously, first, we creators, we will have more time to deliver content. And on my side, well, okay, more. I already had in mind. I was preparing for quite some time, some more content. So in the side of creators, some that doesn't know what to talk about are going to be really frustrated. And on their side, they have a lot of lore to explain. A lot of lore to explain for people to enjoy Cyberpunk 2077 even more. Because even though I'm totally convinced that they are going to integrate the explanation of the lore inside the game, if you know the universe, you're going to enjoy the game even more. So I'm sure that they are going to use this, take this opportunity to explain as much lore as possible. I always wanted to ask serious question here. I know we can play male or can we have relations with same-sex partners? Yes, obviously, this is the future. And people already realized in 2077 that heterosexuality is just one option amongst others. But more content means more polishing. Well, yes, obviously, that's why they did delay the game for more polishing. But on the marketing side, they also have more time to explain more things. They said that they were ramping up the marketing campaign, and we were a little surprised that they didn't say anything for January 10th. I suspect, and I would like to point out that this is a personal suspicion, not that I have any kind of information, but I suspect that maybe if we didn't have anything on the 10th, it's because they were already valuing if they were going to release the game to delay the game or not. Again, personal theory. I may be wrong in here. But yes, now they have more time to explain those things. Although I don't know what is going to happen to Cyberpunk Red, because as far as I know, I believe that Auto-Sorian Games didn't want to release Cyberpunk Red way before the video game, just to avoid spoilers, because Cyberpunk Red is going to contain some minor spoilers for Cyberpunk 2077. Cyberpunk Red is now being developed and it's going to be released when it's ready, quote unquote. We already know this sentence by heart. And I don't know if it's going to be also be delayed to avoid spoiling people with the lore that is going to be contained in Cyberpunk Red. And answering a question that's been asked several times, oh, we've been waiting for long. I've been waiting for a Cyberpunk 2020 video game because Cyberpunk 2077 is a 2020 video game. Since I was a kid, I can wait some more months.
So one of the other things that I suspect that we can get now that there's a little bit more time is what you were just mentioning. You know, that the happy special fun time that you can have with other NPCs. That stuff was all is all been motion captured. Well, I imagine now we're going to be able to have more different kinds. So, you know, instead of just position, you know, 1, 2, and 3, we might get 47 or 26 or, you know, 69 or 73 or 241 or 198. That's a good one. You know, 177. I mean, hey, that's good, right? Looking on the positive side of things. You got what I was putting down, right, Mad Queen?
I'm reading some comments and I'm on some comments because most of people is being super. The chat started with all of people being super reasonable. Suddenly, I'm reading comments like, "Cyberpunk is the light after the Gander bias." What Gander means is some sort of dog. The alleged removal of third-person cutscenes and not showing the full E3 gameplay to the Projekt Red lost all of my trust. If a developer only needs not that to lose your trust, you didn't trust in them in the first place.
Again, you know, I get the okay, Pirate France, thank you. You got what I was putting down. Thank you so much. I think that went over the heads of most people. Yeah, no, thank you for picking up what I was putting down. A quick answer to Meme Recycler. How many people are working on Cyberpunk 2077? What was the final number that we were thinking about? 800? 600 to 800 there, Mad Queen?
Sorry, repeat the question?
How many people are working on Cyberpunk 2077?
I believe that's 750. 750 people, I believe, that were the last numbers they put
we heard
out.
Yeah.
Excuse me. IGN is saying Cyberpunk got delayed again. Well, technically, in the 2013 said that Cyberpunk 2077 was going to be released in 2015, but they went crazy with The Witcher 3, and they released The Witcher 3 on 2015. So as much as I pains to me to say, actually IGN is more or less correct. Because the first time it was delayed from 2015 to 2020.
Outrider. It's not almost end of the year. It's in the third quarter. That's not. It's again, guys. It's not even that. I mean, I understand. I understand the frustration, the plans and all that stuff. I 100% get that, but it went from second quarter release to third quarter release.
Yeah, it's not that much. And by the way, sorry to interrupt you. 2015 to 2020, they didn't give a release date on 2015. This information was hidden inside the glitch that they were thinking about releasing the game in 2015. I mean, technically, it wasn't the release date. It's just that the original intention. So it's not a delay. But yeah, I needed to make the joke. Please go on, Cyber.
Yeah, so again, I understand there's a lot of people who's had their plans altered, and again, I'll say wait until if you think that's bad, imagine all those people that put themselves into cryo sleep for the next couple of months.
I was about to, but then I thought, what about the content? People is expecting, people is counting on me to explain them the universe.
Yeah, we never get the chance to like just check out for a little while, so this is unfortunate to us. But again, guys, I do get this. I really do. And I understand that there's a lot of difficulty and annoyance and frustration with this. But again, it's not even that much. It's from the second quarter to the third quarter. Yes, it's from the early, start of the second quarter to the latter end of the third quarter. I get that. But it's not like it's been released for a year. I mean, it's not like Scalebound where the whole thing was just canceled and dropped off the face of the planet. It's not that kind of stuff. Like, gosh, there's a number of good games that have been, delayed then canceled. Perea Chronicles being one of the latest ones. I mean, I know people in Japan who lost their minds when that was canceled. And a couple in Korea too, where they were like, that was their baby. That was what they were expecting. And now the whole thing's just gone. Oh, EverQuest. Yeah, it's another good one. Crazy Jolly. And I talked about this very recently. The entire future content of the EverQuest series, a pillar, not just a pillar, a trailblazer in MMOs. The first, second-ish, to really do it right, to really like set the precedent that actually gave us things like WoW. The fact that all of that future content, all of the future plans, all of the future books, all of the future everything is sitting in, and I am not joking. Crazy knows what I'm talking about. I am not kidding. That entire IP and all of its future content is sitting inside a vault, a Russian-owned hard asset vault.
This sounds like a James Bond film.
It's right. It's literally that. This isn't to this level, guys. What's another good example? Oh yeah, probably the best example that most people will never ever have known about. One of the best MMOs you will never ever play. You will never ever see screenshots for, and you will never ever get to see the original concept for, was the original Fallout Online. That game...
Sorry to interrupt you here. I would like to answer. Kraus to Matt, thank you very much for your support. A final comment for those of you who complain about the delay thinking it's long. You should look at Kingdom Hearts 3 players. Then factor in the way Cyberpunk board game players had to wait.
I brought that example up recently too. It's the whole like Final Fantasy remake. It's like guys, they put out a trailer for that game before they started working on it, right? The first order of business was like, hey, let's order up get us a teaser clip, 20-30 seconds long. We're gonna put it up, and if it gets enough interest, then we'll start development on it. That's what went on there. It's like, guys, we're not dealing with companies that have zero respect for you. And
in fact, I would like, and now that you mentioned it, I would to point out what Kalenko just said in the chat. Those who say they are done with CDPR, Red, a company that has never delivered anything less than high-quality games and content, and has been the most consumer-friendly company out there, get the vote. I couldn't have said better. And James Fullerton, what did I miss? Cyberpunk 2077 got delayed until September 17th, 2020.
So, it's a couple months delay. I know it's disheartening. I know it's frustrating. But as I said yesterday, on the podcast, there's always a chance. There's always a chance. Now, the original message that seemed to be resonating yesterday, as to the fact that there was this upcoming delay, there was a bunch of people talking about it, and most of these people were saying there's been no new advertising content, therefore the game has been delayed. It's like, what universe do you live in that because you haven't heard anything that you can now decide that the game is delayed because of that? That's not the reason why the game was delayed. The game has been delayed because there was an issue that showed up with the code in some way, shape, or form. And here's my example to this. I have some nieces and nephews, and occasionally they get these like Lego things, right? And you have to build it. One of my nephews is highly impatient when it comes to waiting for stuff, and when I'm trying to put this Lego thing together, following this guide, it was type of Lego. It's not Lego. I was putting everything together, trying to follow the thing. It was really complex for his age. It was. He had no hope in like, if we could freeze time, put him in a room where he didn't age and didn't learn, we could give him like the stuff. It's not like the chimpanzees in a room with William Shakespeare stuff. He would never ever be able to build it. So he's waiting for me to build it, and the final pieces get put together or snapped together, and it doesn't snap together. Why does it snap together? Because I screwed up on the first, like the core structure. I rotated something one too many degrees over to the right, and I had to take the whole thing apart, get to that core piece, rotate it 90 degrees, and then put everything back together again. The concept for him was that I had basically destroyed his entire life. He's 2.5, right? I've destroyed his entire life because I'm now taking apart the thing that was almost done so that I could fix something so that the thing could function properly. Because it was one of these moving, like, again, why they got him this was completely beyond me. It was completely over his head. But that's what happens. And so this is what I'm saying. Is don't be the 2-year-old in the room screaming because something happened. This stuff does have a chance of happening. If they had known this ahead of time, they wouldn't have set the release date for April. And what it appears to be is they're putting the final modules of the game together. Something broke deep in the code that basically...
I need to say that, Sai. I need to say that because I've read in the comments. Chill, okay? Chill. It's only a little code that they need to repeat. It's not, oh my god, they have to start all over again the whole game. Hello, the code is only a part of it. It's not the whole game. I mean, first, chill. Second, let's understand how games are made. I mean, it's like this goes along with the question that was said before. I mean, the company, the people working on the game structures in different departments. You have technology, you have animation, you have quests, you have different departments, and each department works on a parcel of the game. And technology is a very specific parcel of the game. It's not 100% of the game. So please chill. Let's not go crazy.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate, it was a Lego ripoff. It was not actual Lego. That's why I had problems with it, because it was a shoddy knockoff brand that wasn't very good. Yeah, so just I'm not a terrible, I'm not a terrible Lego what's the word? Darn.
So the project Red working on Lego Cyberpunk?
Yeah, no, this is not a confirmation they're working on Lego Cyberpunk. I'm not there's the word I was looking for. I'm not Lego illiterate, okay? I know how to build Lego. It wasn't the Lego it wasn't Lego. It was a knockoff brand that was really, really crappy that they messed up on. So anyways, still I get the frustration. I really do. And we're going to listen to afterwards I'm going to go through this whole speech here that they put up on their site. And again, I can't reiterate enough. This is most likely due to from what we're hearing, from what I'm hearing, it was a kind of a deep problem that reasonably, if they put the game out, it would have been very buggy, would have had a lot of problems, and it would have stayed that way for about a month. Nobody would have wanted that.
Starting
You know?
starting with gamers, we don't want that. We don't want bugs. People say, "Well, I play Bethesda. I can stand any bug they throw at me." I don't know. I don't really know why we stood that from Bethesda for such a long time. But yeah, a limit is a limit.
Yeah. And I mean, it's hit them with 76. It really has, and it's caused them to go back to the drawing board on. And I mean, guys, Starfield was originally due to come out almost 2 years ago. How much delays and how much problems and how much bug fixing did they realize that they had to do? Because they've pushed that game back almost 3 years now. If rumors are to be true that it's coming out this year or early next, it's like that is a heavy thing to deal with. That is absolutely.
You're going to make me a favor. I'm going to leave you alone with my followers because I really need to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
So you're going to entertain them. Usually Cyberpunk 2077 commercials, but I wouldn't like to interrupt you. That, by the way, this reminds me that we had the cliffhanger pending. You were going to explain about the release.
Which part?
Which I don't remember about what we were talking about. We went through here and there, but anyway, I'm going to leave you with it.
Okay. So yeah, the release. They could have, like, if they had. I suspect if they'll probably have the bug fixed by about midsummer. We're talking June, July. So somewhere in June, July, they probably would have had it fixed, and they could probably release it right around there. The problem is that nobody buys games in the middle of June, July. I mean, yes, some people do. Is it a time and a place that you want to release a AAA big budget game and try to get as many people to pick it up as humanly possible? No, you just don't do that. It's a good date for certain indie games, some live service games. That's it. There's no reason for them to drop it in the middle of the summer, because it's just going to cause a lot of problems for a lot of people who really want the game. A lot of the games market, they're going to be on holiday or they're going to be working, in the summertime. I work from, literally I work from 5 till 5 in the morning till about 9 o'clock at night. That's just how the industry, the contract stuff, and some of the other stuff that I do, plus all the other stuff that gets tacked on during the summertime. It's big crunch time for both games industry and a couple of things. You don't take a lot of vacations in and around that time period. Some people do, obviously, but that's not the case in all situations. So just that, I mean, yeah. And it's not no reason that it's been delayed. The reason has been very, 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 very clear. It's that there was a big bug, a big issue, a big problem that showed up that they had to fix. That without it, again, imagine trying to play the game with constant issues and just not having a good experience. Having this be your constant experience. Your constant experience for a couple of, for 2 months. You would not be happy with the end result. You would probably remember it quite negatively, and it would take a major expansion to even try to maybe get you back to finish it. If that's the case, then yeah, I don't, again, looking on the outset, you'd say for sure that this should never have happened. So instead of having a duplicate 76 problem, which isn't even that bad, they're going back and they're fixing things that they have to fix in order to get this thing out the door properly. And that's a good thing. Without them doing that, without them putting the player first, we'd be stuck with a game that is bad and full of errors and full of bugs that, maybe there would have been some community fixes for after a couple of weeks, but for the most part, yeah. So I think this is better overall, and I think this is where it's kind of got to be. It's very annoying for sure, but again, we're not talking about a delay of a year. We're not talking about delaying it from quarter 1 to quarter 4. This is from the second quarter in the year to the third quarter in the year. It's not that much. 5 months is especially during the summer. I mean, unless you're going out to summer camp for the first time and falling in love for the first time and then going on a road trip with your parents while you're trying to keep up the long distance relationship that you just formed at the first summer camp you've ever been to and all that kind of stuff. Unless you're that person, summer goes by pretty quickly. It really does. It really does. So, probably not necessarily a horrendous thing. Let me just go through. Let me go through some of the games that we're going to be getting in between April and September. So, biggest one on the list that I know everybody is excited for, that you're now going to be able to have time to play, is going to be Fast and the Furious Crossroads. You remember how good that was at the Game Awards?
I'm back, but go on, because I brought chocolate.
Yeah, well, I was just talking about probably one of the most anticipated games of the year, Fast and Furious Crossroads. You remember how graphically stimulating and amazing that game is? With its PS2 level, PS5 level graphics. Yeah, yes. So that's going to be great. All y'all are going to be able to play that game, and immediately deposit in.
I'm happy because I will have more time to play too.
So
which everybody knows is a game that I'm anticipating a lot. This is the second anticipation after Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah. So, but after the April release, we also have Wasteland 3. So there's something for you, right? Wasteland 3. I'm excited for this one. This is basically like what Fallout 3 was more or less supposed to be. So this is gonna be exciting. Watch your typing, Mad Queen. Watch your typing.
Oh, sorry, I thought I muted myself, but I muted myself in my stream. So sorry, I thought I muted myself. I'm terribly sorry.
You didn't mute yourself.
Okay. I'm sorry.
New World.
I'm going to make the microphone because
for...
I'm eating. I thought I was muting myself. Sorry.
For those of you who are into MMOs, you've got. Let's face it, you've got probably one of the only options of an actual MMO coming out that might actually have some cool new stuff, aside from I think the only other one that's basically on my radar is something that can actually change the genre and force something new. The only other one I can think of off the top of my head is the new Halo game, which isn't being marketed as an MMO, but it's more or less an MMO. So yeah, it's MMO light. It's gonna have some multiplayer connectivity, I'm told, but it's more so an evolution of the open world genre, which is what MMOs need. They need that. Yeah, MMOs have been stale for so long. It's been an absolute gong show for anybody who follows MMOs, who enjoys MMOs. It's been a dead industry, a dead genre for quite a while now. This is from Amazon Game Studios, their first entry into the new thing. Is it going to be something new, or is it going to be the same old that we get with every single MMO, and it's just going to be a disappointment? Well, now you got time to try. So, then there's this other game that I don't know how many people have heard about this one. I've been told that this is a really good game. The Last of Us.
It's the last.
Never
the last
heard of this
zombies,
game.
Yeah,
The Last of Us.
I've heard
never really heard of
about
this one
it.
before.
I don't
Mm-hmm. Anyways, apparently part 2 is coming out, and has a whole bunch of steamy stuff going on there. So that's cool. Yeah, Last of Who. I'm not sure. So that's coming out. that's coming out in May. So now you got, May, June, July, to try and like pin that one. This is coming out the 29th. So basically,
before we go up, please allow me to interrupt you here. Takeshi-san, thank you very much for your support. He said, I had my wife set on a holiday for 2 weeks in that period, which now I have to explain to her why it gets cancelled and tell her the truth because she's not into games. My plan failed, and still, I am okay. Let's all cheer up. Rob A, welcome to the Mad Queen Army. New members. If you join Discord, there is a room especially for supporters, both on Patreon and on YouTube. And as the connection with YouTube doesn't work very well, you can send me a message. I will put out a message for new members about it, so I can put you inside the channel on Discord. The Last of Us too. The Last of US. Just released Cyberpunk 2077 for the new gen then. Oh, by the way, I wanted to answer a comment. Oh my god, I hope the person that made the comment is still online because I completely forgot about it and I wanted to answer it. About the downgrade of The Witcher 3 and people is afraid that this may happen to Cyberpunk 2077. I would like to remind every single one of you that The Witcher 3 was downgraded because of consoles, because both Sony and Microsoft refused to put the game in the platforms if the PC version was better. And originally the PC version was better, but the technology of the consoles couldn't carry the game. So they had to downgrade it just for consoles to be able to play it. And they also had to downgrade the PC version because otherwise consoles would refuse to sell the game in the platform, which is something is not going to happen in Cyberpunk for 2 reasons. First, because the game has been optimized from the start, and second, because it's a game that is taught for this generation, but it's also going to be available on next generation, which means that the version of PC is going to be the best one since day zero.
This is something that has happened for a number of years. Right now, PlayStation is the only one who's holding this rule basically to stay.
Well, yeah, because Microsoft has both Xbox and PC.
Yeah, Microsoft has officially let this go now. If you're releasing a game on Xbox and you're releasing it on PC as well, they no longer require that the games be basically identical as far as like performance and graphical options and all that. It used to be, and it still is the case for PlayStation. It's why one of the major reasons why PlayStation is going to bomb in the next few years. I hate to say it, but it's true. Is that they are still sticking to that. If you're releasing a game on PlayStation and on other consoles, it has to be technologically identical in performance within, I think it's like 5%. And if it's not, then they are not going to allow you to sell it on their console, and or you will get sued, and or you will get a whole bunch of other things happen to you that are not good. So this actually brings me to something that I wanted to mention as well. One of the reasons why we're not seeing a lot of games hitting early consoles right now, and why nobody's like talking about it super excited. Of course, we're going to get a lot more announcements this year. We're going to get a ton more announcements for games coming out onto the new consoles. Obviously, it's going to be huge this year. It's going to be one of the biggest years for game announcements, I think, because of this. Just a heads up. Right now, from everybody I've talked to, PlayStation dev kit and the next PlayStation is a, how to say it nicely, dumpster fire, I think, is basically about the best thing I can say. Technically, a bunch of other issues. It's a dumpster fire.
Well, I talked with 2 people that were already touching the dev kit of PlayStation 5. And one said that's pure shit, and the second said, no, well, it has some troubles for optimization, but the hardware is pretty okay. So that's 50-50 on my side. I really don't know what to think. I would like to interrupt you here to answer a question before I lose it. Give me a second. Shit. Sorry. Oh, I maybe this person deleted the comment. I don't know. Someone complaining about oh yes, that I couldn't find the comment, but it said something that Epic failed because they announced the release date with Keanu Reeves. I don't know what's the relation between both things. I mean, they announced the game with Keanu Reeves. Yes, we love that Keanu Reeves is in the game, and they need more time. What's the relation? They need more time. Let's give them more time. I mean, what's the problem in that? There is no problem at all. Polish speakers know what kid means. Please let me know. Don't make me Google translate it. Wait, Keanu Reeves doesn't control the release date? Oh yeah, totally.
Pirate France is asking the question: will this game not be immediately backwards compatible with the new consoles? So will you not be able to play the Cyberpunk 2077 on the new consoles day one? I very much doubt this. I very, very much doubt this. Again, it's not like don't take that 100%. There's there's a chance that it will for sure, but typically there is a bit of a delay. Not how fast that delay is, or if there is a delay. Right now, it has not been announced. They shouldn't have any problem with it. However, if the operating system is having difficulties, you will see a bit of a delay. Again,
allow me to interrupt you here. Last known Mill, would you jump in? We're on the general channel of Discord for the community podcast. So if you'd like to jump in, you're welcome to do so. What terrible games were delayed, just for reference? Cyb?
What terrible games have been delayed? There's a lot of terrible games that have been delayed. There's a lot of terrible games that haven't been delayed. And this is unfortunately the world of game development. It's the same. I mean, it's far more complex than something like a movie. A movie, you do a cut, that's it. Basically, ship it, you're done. And unless you're leading or you are running one of the worst final seasons ever to have aired, and you're having coffee cups left on medieval tables left, right, and center, along with water bottles and glasses and cell phones, at some point, you could take the blame and say, that's crap, but it's not quite the same. There's so many more possibilities, especially in open world games. There's almost an infinite number of possibilities, and well, that causes problems. That causes a lot of technical problems, a lot of issues, a lot of just major difficulties that need to be handled. And so we're gonna seeing a delay, not really a big surprise. And it's not really a surprise in the sense that they delayed Witcher 3. A delay for Cyberpunk was sort of anticipated. If you rolled the dice and gambled that there would be a delay, congratulations. That's you would have been right 90% of the time. So, shocker, because that's just how game development works.
Yeah. It is funny for me because I see a lot of people paying attention to Punk 2077, and it seems to me that this is the first time that they pay so much attention to a video game, and they are now discovering how the industry works. And in the sense that sometimes they make some comments like, this is happening, this is so weird. No, this is industry standard. They were so silent about the game. That was a red flag. No, that's the common thing to do. They are busy doing the game. They cannot give out many information because games are such an iterative process that everything they say today can change tomorrow. So they need to be very careful with what they put out, because things can change and everything is a work in progress until the game is shipped. And I find it amusing because of that, because I believe that a lot of people are just discovering how things work by the attention they are putting on Cyberpunk 2077, and as they don't have the information on how the industry usually work with things, they go crazy, like, oh my god, this is so unusual. No. It's like, oh, a delayed game. Well, yeah, delayed. How many games have been delayed this year?
Mm-hmm.
Doom Eternal to start with, and as someone is saying in the comments, wow, we will be able to focus on Doom Eternal. Yes, Grace, McQueen, thanks for all what you do. Law, news, everything. Thanks to you for watching, Face.
And again, just to kind of hit the list of games that we have to play between now and then, you've got Last of Us, you've got New World, you've got Gears Tactics might be interesting. I was obviously joking. Fast and Furious Crossroads does not look
Final
like
Fantasy
it's going to be a good game. You've got Final Fantasy Remake, you've got Resident Evil, and you've got, again, another heavy exaggeration, you've got Marvel's Avengers. Play as Marvel's Avengers, heroes that you've seen on film and you've been reading on comic books for decades. Unfortunately, none of them look like the characters from any of those versions. But hey, play it nonetheless.
Sorry to interrupt you again. Troimer says, I'm watching McQueen from my hospital bed. I'm sorry to hear that, Troimer. I hope you get well soon.
Yeah, get well, Tremor, and hopefully it's nothing too serious, because that sucks.
Hey, this isn't Adelaide. It's a game optimization period. Well, yeah, actually, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Someone is asking for the call. I'm going to put again in the comments section the link, if I can find it again. I think I closed it. No, I didn't. The link to the conference call is not Marcin Iwinski, is the president of CD Projekt, Adam Kicinski, and the head of the CD Projekt Red studio, Adam Bowski, that are answering questions on a conference call. And I warn you that the quality is not great.
Yeah,
quality of audio is not great. And also, they also both have a very Polish accent, which I love, by the way. But if you're watching my content, probably you already got used to thick accents. Mine is not Polish there. The delay will get me in a few more turns of civilization. The game industry should just fund a documentary called "This Is How a Game Is Made." Now shut the Well, Kalenko, no clip have a lot of documentary how games are made, and they constantly explain how this iterative process work. And not only that, when the Project Red showed the different demos that they showed, they always said that this things were subject to change. This is not something that is new. This is something that is normal. And don't get me wrong, I wouldn't like it otherwise, because the first idea you have is not always the best. So it's always great to keep experimenting to find the best options, the best solutions possible. Well, we've been here for 2 hours. Type to stop it here. How about you?
Yeah, that might be a good idea. Just because we wanna be able to review up this review up the news program and then see what we can kind of gather from that, because there's going to be some details that I'm going to need to pick out, here and there and re-listen to a couple of times. So I'm good with calling it here. Thanks for the everybody showing up and everybody supporting. And again, 100%, I get the frustration. I really 100% do. This is only it's just slightly less than a 5-month delay. It's not the end of the world. It had to happen for them to have a smooth release without major bugs causing constant serious issues. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for. I will add that I would like to remind you that a delay doesn't mean that's nothing wrong with the game. I mean, don't be worried. This is an industry standard. Forecasts are very difficult to do them accurately when you are experimenting on new things. And it's important that CD Projekt Red keeps experimenting to do a game that is a novelty and it's not just your typical game redone all over again. So keep that in mind. Someone said, "Hey, tell Pavel he owes you a beer for the delay." I really hope he's okay that I say this publicly, but he doesn't drink alcohol at all, so I think he will owe me a Coca-Cola.
Yeah, I don't drink alcohol either. And yeah, I know some people will say, "Oh, that's what's wrong with you." Ha 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 ha. So funny.
Well, I honestly
no,
don't
just,
drink.
just
It's not that I don't drink, but I don't hardly drink. And I mean,
it's just
I don't find it strange at all.
it's just it really messes with our circuitry. So
Yeah, you robots really shouldn't drink.
Yeah, it's really really bad. It's really 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 bad. But
well, Nuno, thank you very much for your support. Thank you, every single one of you, for showing up here and listening to the news. Also, thank you very much for staying positive on this news. As I've said, we both understand your frustration, but again, this is a good thing. This is a good thing because the two priorities here always are the good health of the people that deliver the great games we love, and that the games are always the best quality possible. And if CD Projekt Red needs more time to deliver this quality, let's give them this time. And and you would do everybody a favor if every time you see someone going crazy about this subject, you tell them from my part, chill, chill. They need time. Let's not put pressure on them. They already have enough. The pressure of delivering the best game that they can. So, yes. No, did I thank you for your support? Link to Cybe's YouTube. You will find it on the description, the Triple S League.
Yeah, hold on here. I'll actually just link it in the chat if you don't mind.
Oh, yes, please go ahead.
Blop. So yeah, head over. We cover, we're going to be covering Cyberpunk a lot. We're going to be covering lots of stuff, but we also cover a lot of other news that you might be interested in. And Ash always has something. He's the other guy on our channel here. He's always got something in the works, so you'll find something that you'll like for sure. So.
And please give a like to both channels in Obsidian, in the Triple S League, and in my channel. We are battling against a lot of way more dislikes than usual that I believe that are trying to express the frustration for the delay of the game and not all work, because they are more than usual. It got delayed. Well, as a finishing note for the people that just arrived, again, Sype, I'm going to read it if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
CD Projekt Red announced the delay of Cyberpunk 2077, and I'm going to read what they said. This was their official announcement. We have important news regarding Cyberpunk 2077's release date we'd like to share with you today. Cyberpunk 2077 won't make the April release window, and we're moving the launch date to September 17th, 2020. We are currently at a stage where the game is complete and playable, but there's still work to be done. Night City is massive, full of stories, content, and places to visit. But due to the sheer scale and complexity of it all, we need more time to finish play testing, fixing, and polishing. We want Cyberpunk 2077 to be our crowning achievement for this generation, and postponing launch will give us the precious months we need to make the game perfect. Expect more regular updates on progress as we get closer to the new release date. We're really looking forward to seeing you in Night City. Thank you for your ongoing support. This letter was signed by Marcin Iwinski, joint CEO and co-founder of CD Projekt, and Adam Badowski, head of the CD Projekt Red studio. I'm going to learn this letter by heart at this point. Are you there?
Yeah. No. I agree. I'm trying to find some more info on it, but yeah, no, we're good now. We're good.
Well, on this subject, expect with a summary of what Adam Kicinski and Adam Badowski discussed in the conference call that they released today. That I'm not going to talk about now, because it was released while we were on the stream. I didn't listen to it yet, not because I want to hide anything from you, obviously. And also, the new video on the lore of Night City explained that I know you were waiting for. And September 7th, 2020. Squish that like button, please, to show the algorithm of YouTube who's the boss. And thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for your patience. Thank you very much for, in spite of being frustrating for the delay, participate in this community like the nice people that you are, to remind everybody that a delay doesn't mean that much. Developers just need more time, and that's it. That's not a problem. It's totally okay. Hashtag, we can wait. Any last words, Asai?
No, that's all we can get for now, and we will have more info on this sometime soon.
Well, thank you very much, and expect tomorrow. Stay being amazing.